Mobility program number 2, outdoors, get in your garden, get in your front room, whatever it is guys, barefoot, have a sip, make sure you're nice and warmed up. We're just going to focus on stretching, so nice and steady, lower intensity stuff work. Yeah, very similar to what we did in our mobility and stability program 1. So, bit of space for me, feet hip width apart. So just to begin with, think about breathing in, lifting the shoulders, chest up, pinning the shoulders back, and then exhaling, bringing the hands down. Inhale. Chin comes up, roll the shoulders back, exhale, come back down. Breathe in, exhale. Breathe in, exhale. From here, what I want us to think about doing is dropping our chin down to our chest, and as we exhale, start to run the hands down the front of the thighs. Let the shoulders roll over, and imagine your back is velcroed to the wall behind you, and you're slowly going to peel that velcro off the wall and reaching down. You're kind of slouching through the upper back, hinging over through the lower back, keeping the legs straight, and then pausing at the bottom, and then inhale, coming all the way up. Chin comes up at the top and we roll the shoulders back. Exhale, and we'll do the same again. So breathing out, hands on the thighs, exhale, and see if we can get a little bit lower this time. Really let the hands lead away from you and feel heavy. Breathe in, rolling up, chin comes up, shoulders back. Breathe in, exhale, lower the chin, let the hands run down the thighs, slowly down. Try and get to the bottom a little bit further this time. Pausing at the bottom there, holding that stretch position, and breathe at the bottom of the stretch. From here, I want you to shift your upper body over to the outside of one ankle. Breathe again. Inhale through your nose, exhale through your mouth, and then shift the body weight over to the outside of the other foot. Staying in that hinged over position. Back to the center. And then a big inhale, breathe in, breathe in, breathe in, breathe in, keep breathing in, bringing it up. Roll the shoulders back into that kind of perfect position, that posture. We're going to go through that twice more. So exhale, run the hands down the thighs as far as you can. Let the hands feel heavy, so we'll stretch through the upper back, mid back, lower back, maybe the hamstrings. And then shift the body weight over to one side again, outside of the ankle. Breathe at the bottom, guys. Don't hold your breath. Shift the body weight over to the other side. And just stretching off, guys, yeah? Through to that central position again, and then a big breathe in all the way to the top. That's good. Breathe in once more. And then as we exhale, we're going to go down once more through that. Let's go, exhale. Running it down. Keep the legs straight, get a good stretch through. Pausing at the bottom. Shift the body weight over to one side. And then back across to the other side. Breathe with it. Back to that central position, and breathe in, bringing your body weight up. Take a moment to have a little breather at the top, so hands on your ribs. Inhale, feel the ribs expand. Exhale, feel them sink back in. Inhale, get lots of good oxygen around the body. Exhale, once more. Exhale. Now from there, what we're going to do this time is we're going to reach for our hands towards the floor. So hinging, folding at the hips, reaching to our hands. From there, we want to walk out, keeping our hips nice and high, out into this kind of plank position. From here, we're going to walk the feet in, trying to keep the hands on the floor to this full stretch position, guys, yeah? And then slowly bringing yourself up. Breathe with it. Taking your time, working at your own pace. You're going to turn around and we're going to go again. So fold over at the hips, stretch to the floor, walk out into that plank position, core in tight, breathe, exhale as we bring the feet in, getting those heels down, and then bringing ourselves up, shoulders back, turn around. We've got 2 more of those, guys, yeah? So fold the hips, keep the legs straight, stretching all through the hamstrings, the glutes, reaching toes on fingertips onto the floor, trying to keep the heels down, and then bringing the heels up as we've come forward into that plank. From there, walk the feet in, keeping the hips up nice and high, and then bringing our way up. Last one for me, turning around. Breathe, guys, focus on that breathing just as much as the stretching. Exhale on the way down. Breathe in as you walk across. Exhale as you walk the feet in. And then bringing that up. Perfect stuff. Now from here we're going to take ourselves down again, so this time we're going to squat down, hands, I'll do this so I'm facing you guys, so in that squat position we're going to squat down, bringing your hands to the floor like so, we're in this kind of deep squat position. Now from here, with my elbows, I'm going to apply some pressure on my inner thighs, just to open up a little bit more through the hips, so just stretching that through. We're not going to start coming into like a frog stand or anything like that. I'm just thinking about pressing the elbows on the inner thighs, just to stretch off through the hips. Keep breathing with it, focus on that breathing again. Feel the ribs expand and fill up, and then exhale. And then from there, taking 1 foot back for me, into this position, and then dropping into that stretch forward. So from here, front heel on the ground, back knee on the ground, push the hips forward and stretch through those hips. That's good. As you start to get a little bit more confident on that, feel free to bring that hand behind and just grabbing hold, stretching through. You're just tilting the shoulder forward to that hinged knee, just stretching through the quads. That's a lovely stretch. Breathe with it. Good, guys. Stretching is important. And release that foot. From there, we're going to change legs over. It's the same again. So very much up on one knee. Push the hips forward. Reach the hands towards the ground. Big stretch. Holding that stretch position. Oh, you call, mate? Good to see you out on the park this morning training. I am doing a bit of a video, it's alright, mate.
Alright.
You stretch out, pal, join in.
Join in.
And then with that spare hand, just reach behind, grabbing hold of the foot. You keeping alright?
Yeah. No, that's tough in the heat.
Holding that stretch. A little bit longer, guys. So from release that, then from there, on both knees, you're going to focus on sitting the hips back onto the heels, lower the chest down and really stretch through the lats and back. You can walk your fingertips forward to stretch out a little bit more. Breathe with it, guys. Focus on the oxygen, breathe in, feel the lungs fill up, the use of the diaphragm. You're going to exhale and bring the hips through, chest comes up. Lift the chin up if you can, and that's comfortable on your back. Big stretch. It's like having a training partner. How are you? Alright?
Yeah, good now, mate. Yeah. Fitter.
Shit, mate. Working hard. Yeah. Every time I come down here, you're down here training. I love it.
Stay in the house.
And then from there, we're going to come back to that neutral position again. So we're on all fours. Wrists just under the shoulders, knees just under the hips. From here, we're going to feed one hand underneath and kind of sit on that shoulder. So reach one arm directly under, so kind of thread the needle underneath and just stretching through the back. Part of today's program, I'm going to really focus on kind of the thorax, the back, stretching through the hips, holding that, breathing with it, Then bringing that up. Then we're going to feed through the other side. Thread that needle underneath. Come down to just lean onto that shoulder and stretch through. And bring yourself back onto all fours. Now from here, we're going to lay down just on our front. You're going to reach your arms out wide for me and kind of keep the chin tucked in so you're facing the ground. Now from here, you're going to take one leg over the back and you should get the stretch immediately through the hips, touching the back. If you can, get that foot to touch the floor behind you. Breathe with it. Good stretch. Breathe. And then foot back down again, and then this time throwing the other leg over behind. Big stretch out. Breathe. Put back over. From there, same again, bring yourself up, push up, drop the hips back into that stretch. Chest down and then walking the fingertips away. Then pushing the hips through towards the ground, bringing the chest up, even lifting the chin up towards the sky or the ceiling in front of you. Just stretching off. Same again, fill the lungs up with air. Inhale through your nose, exhale through your mouth. And bringing that kind of back onto all fours. Now this stretch here, what I want you to think about doing is bringing one leg across the body and then the other leg straight out behind you. So you've effectively got one shin coming directly across the body and then hinge over at the hips, drop the elbows down and keep one leg straight out behind. Many of you may know this is the pigeon stretch. You should be getting quite a bit of stretch through the hip here, outer thigh, possibly glute, maybe even the back if that's seriously tight. Holding that stretch. Stretching feels so good and it's so undervalued. Hold that, guys. Even reach the hands out a bit more out overhead if you wish. And walking those hands in. From there we're going to change sides. So bring that foot out behind, other foot across. Drop that knee out, so keep that leg straight out behind. Kind of sit back into the hip just to fold over and stretch out, lowering the chest down towards your lap. Same again, guys, breathe with it. If you need to grab a drink at any point, you can do. Just focus on the stretch. Bringing yourself up, step back, and then from here we're going to push the hips forward towards the ground, laying down. So you can just do this one hand, but if you can, try and reach through, grab it hold of both laces, head down and just breathe. And as well as pulling the heels towards the butt, think, can you lift the knees off the ground, the bottom of your thighs? Can you push the top of your thighs so your hips towards the ground and really focus on the stretch? Even come into pinning the shoulders back and squeezing the mid back. Breathe, fill the lungs in and exhale. Breathe in, exhale. Breathe in, exhale. Breathe in. Exhale. And slowly releasing those feet. From here, move back onto your knees. From there, we're going to bring our feet in slightly, and we're just going to push one heel down to the ground at a time. So keep the ball of your foot on the ground, hips are up nice and high, drive that heel towards the ground, switching it up. Really stretching through the calves, into the Achilles. Bring yourself down to your knees. So from here, what we're going to look at now is, I'm not going to be the best example, but we're going to look at trying to get into that box splits position. So bring yourself up so you're pretty comfortable, and then slowly walking the feet out a little bit wider to stretch through those hips, guys. Yeah. Now if you're somebody like that, same for me, a little bit of a knee injury, try not to go to the point where you start to feel pain in the joint. Yeah, we want to keep the stretch on the muscle and the connective tissue, so the tendons and ligaments, if you can. So holding that little bit of a stretch there. If that's too uncomfortable for you, bring your hands to the ground or drop your elbows to the ground, guys. Yeah, focus on the stretch through the hips. Keep holding that, guys. Yeah, so finding the option which works best for you. Holding that stretch. Like Jean-Claude Van Damme doing the splits. Keep holding that. Breathe in with it. Breathe. Big inhale in. Exhale out. Reach the hands towards the ground, and then we're going to slowly bring those feet back in and back into that deep squat position we was in when we first come down to the ground. So deep squat position, and with the elbows just pressing on the inner thighs to stretch through the hips, guys. We're not going into a frog stand, kind of in that froggy position, but just stretching through the hips. About bringing the hips forward, pulling the knees out wide. And then from there, we're going to bring ourselves down to the ground, so we're lying on our backs. Now from here, we're going to lay ourselves back. We're going to have one leg straight, and then with the other leg, we're going to lift it up and come across the body. Try and keep both shoulder blades on the ground, bringing that through. If you want to stretch this a little more, you can use the hand on the outer thigh, just to add a bit more weight to that counterbalance. So we should be nice stretch through the back. Possibly outer thigh and glutes too. Breathe with it. Inhale, exhale. Big, long, deep breaths. And reach that leg out again. And throw that leg over to the other side. Breathe. And laying on your back, grab hold of your knee, just under the knee, and draw in towards your chest. Keep the other leg straight. And same again, we're looking to get kind of upper hamstring, lower glutes. Breathe with it, guys. Hold and breathe. This is your time to work on yourself, develop yourself, guys. Breathe. Forget about any work stressors. Breathe. Think about the things you want to do. Change legs. Things that make you happy. Change legs and stretch that out. Releasing that leg. And we're going to set ourselves up right, guys. So sitting up, legs straight, shoulders rolled back. We're going to fall forward, reaching down the legs. Now, I'm not the most mobile of people, so reaching out, you might just get to your shins, you might get to your ankles, you might get to your toes, you might kiss your knees, whatever it is, guys. Just get to that point where you get the full stretch through hamstrings. Again on, Carl, all right, mate?
Yeah, good, mate. Feel good
stuff. Keep stretching, breathe with it. It's a lovely day.
Oh, it's beautiful, isn't it?
And from there, roll off them shoulders, and then from there, guys, you're going to bring the soles of your feet together. Soles of your feet together. Draw the heels in as tight as you can towards your hips. Chest up tall, so roll those shoulders off. Then grabbing hold of the foot and then just pressing down with the elbows into the inner thighs just to stretch off through your hips. It's good, holding that stretch. Breathe. And just sitting comfortably, guys. Might be crossing your legs, shoulders rolled back. I want you to put one hand down on the ground, reach high and wide, big stretch through the lats. Really reach that pinky finger right up and over. Hand down, and reach over to the other side. Big stretch. And comes down. Roll off those shoulders, guys. Thumbs up. Super stuff there, guys. Some mobility in the stretch program you can do in your own time, guys. Yeah, do it as many times as you want. You can go through this program twice over, back to back. Keep up the stretching work, guys.